Good, cool. So, welcome one and all to this beautiful session. And today I have with me Lois Koffi, the creator of a beautiful fledgling podcast. And we've all heard of podcasts. I mean, I've been hearing it for the last many years. But believe me, I never got any strategy or any wherewithal or any coach possibly to understand how to get into a podcast and what is the kind of journey that we have for a particular podcast. Lois Koffi is a leading trainer, a sales trainer in the US, based in California, and in the last few months has built up this beautiful podcast and has just launched it a couple of days ago in a grand ceremony on July the 20th, which equated even to a day of the marriage. So exciting times for Lois, and as her business partner based out of India, it's exciting to see the journey of Lois into this new particular arena of podcasting. So in the next few minutes, we'll just have a quick tete-a-tete with Lois to understand this journey and understand what it really takes to create a successful podcast. So Lois, are we ready?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It's really exciting. We're on day 3 of my launch, and I'm not going to lie, I'm probably looking a little disheveled, a little exhausted, because it's been I would say this week has been about the 3rd or 4th biggest moment in my life. I've been actually wanting to start a podcast for a few years now, and it didn't dawn on me until this year, thanks to COVID-19, the pandemic, the quarantine. That I was really built to do it because I have a very powerful story, and yet I was terrified. A lot of people are probably shocked to hear that. If they know me, they're like, Lois, you're like the most fearless person I've ever met. And I even went to college for broadcast journalism. So I've always loved speaking. And I will tell you, you don't have to be a good speaker to start a podcast. I mean, but I had all the reasons to do it, and I have all the confidence in all of that. But I had been told back in 2007, 2008 by some naysayers, some people that were around me that, Lois, what are you going to say? Who's going to listen to you? What are you going to teach? And I was so traumatized by the recession of that time, kind of similar to what everyone's experiencing now, or a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people are going through hardship, trauma, loss, financial pain or ruin or grief of some sort. People are having health challenges. So it's a really difficult time. And I went through all of that in 2007, 2008. I lost my health. I lost my wealth. I actually lost everything. I was homeless for a while, went through bankruptcy. And again, I was surrounded by people who were really negative towards the choices that I made in that time. And I listened to them. I allowed their voices to speak into my head. And my subconscious mind said, Lois, don't start your speaking career now. You're not worthy of that. Don't do it. So I even manifested an autoimmune disease in my throat because I was so afraid to speak my truth and to be authentically heard, to inspire and educate and empower other people. So I went a different path, which I don't believe in any accidents, regrets, none of that. So I share this all to you to say that to pivot and to choose to start doing the podcast was a very, very terrifying decision for me because of past stuff. However, coaches, mentors, friends like Deepak, encouraging people in my life were always behind me saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I finally said, I'm just going to frickin' do it. Pardon my French. And so in April, even after losing my brother and my mom unexpectedly, not to COVID, but just, death and whatnot, I decided it's time for me to speak my truth. And the podcast is actually, I've been a guest on several podcasts. So if you're thinking about podcasting, start becoming to be guests on other people's podcasts just to kind of do your research. And so I did my homework. I was on about a dozen podcasts, and I said, dude, I can do this. And so I did a soft, I call it a soft launch in April, had many great episodes, being able to share my story you know, especially right now, so many people going through what they're going through. I actually was kind of built for this pandemic, being recession proof, being able to share my inspiration and encouraging message means a lot to me. I have a voice. I want people to hear it, and I want them to be encouraged in their health, in their wealth, and in their wisdom. So that's, I don't want to, you know, go on and on, but that's the basic journey that I've had. It was scary, but with support and coaches. And then I did sign up for a podcasting course, which, oh my gosh, I know anybody could start a podcast and people dabble with it and play with it. But I said, you know what, I'm going to go big with this. I don't just want to half-ass it. I really want to do this. And so I signed up for a 5-week total immersion podcasting course, which is why I'm kind of exhausted right now. But guess what? I got into the top 10 in 2 countries right now in the charts. I'm in the top 15, and I believe 2 or 3 other countries, and I'm top 20 right now in the US of A. So I'm really coveting your reviews, downloads, subscriptions today more than any other time. But anyway, I'll leave it back over to you, Deepak.
Awesome, awesome. You're so intuitive. You managed to answer 3 questions without asking any of them. And, you know, the 3 questions which you answered already is, you know, the reason why you chose to begin a podcast, which you really clearly mentioned in terms of a journey from 2008. How do you wish to serve the community through healthy, wealthy, and wise? And again, you were very clear in terms of the health, the wealth, and the wisdom. And you began off by telling the challenges that you faced in, you know, some sense. So I'd like you to actually take you, like you to help take the viewers through these challenges and into the future. How do you see it, you know, emerging in the future? What is your advice for the viewers as if they have to go through a similar journey of podcasting?
Wow. Well, first, I think it's just really believe in yourself, believe that you have a voice, believe that you matter, and believe that no matter what anybody says, you can do it. If you believe it and you dream it, you can achieve it. And if I hadn't asked for help and interviewed other podcasters, experienced, you know, the actual podcast experience, and even then, I still had doubts. You know, even after all those interviews, I still had doubts. But having the coaches, having the mentors, you know, you and I have a coaching program, and we're all about coaching and support and having a team to keep you going. So I rallied around myself, surrounded myself with a team of people who believed in me. A lot of them are my BNI colleagues. I talked to several people about being guests. I even took a huge leap and asked for a big fish, otherwise known as Dr. Evan Eisner and his wife, Beth. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if they're going to say yes. And within 5 minutes of emailing them both, they said yes. So all these little wins along the way, you know, baby steps, 1 foot in front of the other, taking a little bit of a risk, getting the encouragement and support, and just keep going. And then, of course, you know, having a system in place, you know, it's probably too much to share in here today, but figuring out my podcasting schedule and putting the dates on the calendar, even if I didn't have guests, it held me accountable to my commitment to, oh my gosh, I got to find a guest. And even my title, Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, I meditated a lot to figure out what my title really needed to be. I sat with it for a couple weeks. I talked to one of my sales coaches, Eric Lofholm, and he was positive, said that, you know, that sounds great. And no matter what anybody else said, I've learned, listen to myself, listen to my intuition, and not what everybody else, the noise out here might be trying to tell me what I should do. Really going within and being true to myself and asking, what is my value? What can I share? And what do I think people need right now? So yes, people need health experts to tell them, you know, how can they get through this thing called COVID-19 and boost their immune system, and lots of different topics. People need inspiration for building their wealth. And it's not just money, it's social capital, it's abundant mindset. It's about how to be and become free in whatever that means for you. And then of course, the coaches and mentors, the wisdom piece, I'm usually talking to people who are coaches, mentors in some way, shape, or form. So I was able to kind of put it into a series of threes. 1 week is health, 1 week is wealth, 1 week is wisdom. And so having a structure, predictable structure, everyone really, I think craves predictability. And then just, scheduling my shows. And then last but not least, and I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again before I talk about the future, having that podcast team. We got coached every day in a private group for 5 weeks, from soup to nuts, from A to Z and beyond. They told us what we needed to do. And I'm not really good at just reading books and applying it. I need that accountability and that team structure. So it wasn't just like a one person. It was a team of people that came around. We all linked arms and we communicated every single day for the past 5 weeks, which is intense. It was about another 20 weeks into my life 20 hours every week of college level type study and application. So it was amazing, but it kept me accountable to my goal. I put it out there to the world and said, July 20th, I'm launching or relaunching officially for real this time into iTunes, and telling the world, here I am. I want you to listen to this. And so being able to, over the last, I haven't seen the latest updates, but I know I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 reviews. So thank you if you've already reviewed. We need more to get a little bit higher in the rankings. And then of course the downloads, the subscriptions, all of that kind of stuff. And it really showed me what's possible. I don't get a second chance at this. So that's why I'm asking for people's support and help, because the more eyeballs are on this, the more people can be inspired, encouraged. It's like a ripple effect. You talk about that, Deepak, a ripple effect of transformation and change, just one person helping another without expecting anything in return, the boomerang law of the universe, all of that kind of stuff. So it's really a beautiful thing to be a part of. And now I'm like looking at my future thinking, anything is possible. Anybody could do a podcast. Now people are coming to me and saying, oh my gosh, can I do this? I'm like, yes, anybody can do this. So I do plan on adding that into my coaching services and support as well. I do see this being my megaphone of attraction marketing and building a 6-figure income just through that one funnel. So that's part of the Podcast to Profit program that I was in. And really getting, thousands of subscribers and being, in the top of those, probably, staying in the top 200 forever as best I can. And who knows, staying in the top 10 would be a really cool place. But I got people like Gary Vaynerchuk and I think Grant Cardone and some Tim Ferriss, some world-renowned, multimillionaires and best-selling authors and people who are amazing that I'm competing with. So it's just an honor to be there right now, even in the top 20 or the top 10 with them.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lois. A wealth of information, and you've covered so many range of topics. I just have one last query for you. It's a little difficult query, so I thought I'll save it for the last. And to jog your mind before you start your drive, to Iowa. So the last thing, we all have versions of computers or applications. So I thought, healthy, wealthy, and wise, 20th July 2020. I'm trying to jog you into the future, 2 years ahead, 20th July 2022. What's your dream just for this particular podcast? What do you think are the figures? I know it's difficult. I know I have made you think aloud, but I just thought, let me see what kind of a response comes. 2 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, no, I love that. I don't know where the world will be, post COVID at that time. I would love to be on, whether it's on Zoom or on stages around the world, sharing my story of overcoming my fears and authenticity. Kind of like I call myself a white version of Oprah. I would love to. I love interviewing. I love pulling the story out of people. I've always been told that I'm really good. People just tell me stuff that they don't tell anybody else. So in the back of my mind, I want to be that conduit, that medium that helps people grow through these interviews and, maybe write a few books and a compilation of books and turn these interviews into transcriptions, and of course getting people's permission to publish their story and these books, almost like a chicken soup for the soul, but more of a healthy and wealthy and wise series, and turning it into possibly my own TV show slash radio show, or whatever is going to be going on at that time. There's all this evolution and flow of technology, and even doing webinar series, doing week-long retreats like you and I have talked about, where it's called the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, retreat, and just turning it into a constant reverberation of focusing on your health, your wealth, and your wisdom, and really blowing up that message around the globe, because I've already got so many viewers all over the globe. It's a message that penetrates all society, and I want to help people, be able to be prepared for the next pandemic or the next recession or the next whatever, and be the highest and best version of themselves. So summary: books, retreats, a TV show of some sort, or radio show, whatever makes the most sense, and just being able to help people share their truth.
Hats off, Lois. That was amazing. I think 20 minutes of power-packed information on podcasting, and requesting all the viewers, I'm going to put the link below for the podcast as well as the review. Do go ahead and look at the podcast, share a review, and be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. So thank you so much, Lois. And with that, we will come to an end of the session. Thank you so much for watching, all of you.
Thank you for subscribing, downloading, and reviewing.